What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for joining. Here we are again. It's time to dive into one of my most recent artworks. The artwork I'm going to be talking about in this video is called Dizzy Dreamer, and it looks like this. Now, even though this piece was created for a specific client, it is extremely personal to me and a lot of the concepts resonate with my personal values. So I can't wait to dive into it and explain some hidden details, symbolism, and some concepts that I've explored visually to you guys. My artwork, Dizzy Dreamer, is 12 by 18 inches. Let's actually back up a little bit and do a size comparison with the frame. Alright, back on track. Already before starting this piece, I knew I wanted to work with the concept of a bittersweet passion, dreams, ambitions, and those ideas for this work. Once you understand and see this artwork from my perspective, the creator's perspective, you understand that it really explores the vulnerability that a creative, bittersweet passion comes with. The push and pull, the highs and lows, the things that people who don't have this kind of passion don't understand. About halfway through creating this artwork, I came up with two possible titles for this piece, one of which was Dizzy Dreamer. The other title was My Light, My Flame. Now, before you roll your eyes, let me explain. I have a lot of personal experience with what it feels like to have a bittersweet passion. In fact, I believe that most creative talents are bittersweet to some extent. So let's say a passion gives you purpose and it guides you through life like a light, but it can also hurt and burn like a flame. I think that perfectly explains what the origin or the backstory of the potential title My Light, My Flame was. But it is Dizzy Dreamer, and I thought to myself, I might not call this work My Light, My Flame, but I will visually express that concept. If you look into the center of the piece, there is a candle in a box. Now that candle is a light, but it's also a flame. It lights up the darkness within that box, but if you look further above, it's starting to burn the top of the box. It's already smoking, it's cracking, threatening to destroy and burn down everything around it, the entire space that I've created in the artwork. Now moving on, there's a big Mickey Mouse sitting on top of that box. If you have a little pop cultural background knowledge, you'll notice right away that this is the vintage Mickey Mouse. You can tell by the eyes and a couple of other features. Mickey's just chilling on that box, but one of Mickey's arms is much longer than the other one and goes all the way down, further than the box he's sitting on, and further than the house that box is sitting on top of. All the way down where it transforms into a human hand that forces open the mouth of a Goofy-like character. Now this is inarguably dark, but it's definitely ambiguous. It could either represent the drug abuse within the entertainment industry, or it could represent the escalating and increasing amount of hunger for money, fame, and power within the world we live in today. Whichever one speaks to you more, there is a reason why I didn't specify it. Both interpretations are closely related to the broad concept. Now let's have a closer look at that Goofy character. I've kind of transformed it into a dog or a creature that's on all fours, not on just two legs. And it's wearing a cute little sweater and a collar, but that's not the important part. If you look around that character's neck, there's the Coraline key. I don't know if you know this, but the movie Coraline amazes me. It's stop motion, there's so much symbolism in there. It's been confirmed that every single detail fans have pointed out over time, it's been done on purpose. Nothing is a coincidence. It is a pretty eerie movie, but I love it. So yeah, there's the Coraline key that allows Coraline in the movie or in the book to get to the other world. And before we move on completely from that Goofy character, if you come back to the mouth of the Goofy character, its bottom lip is held open by a hook. A hook that's connected to a fishing rod that goes all the way down, actually outside of the artwork, all the way to the left to a little grass island. And there you also see the actual fishing thing, the stick with the string attached. It's just laying there in the grass and it's being held onto by an empty Mickey glove. Now it's not really empty, there's a small building in there and a ladder that lets you inside, whoever is small enough to fit in there. So it just adds depth to the artwork and it adds more questions, which is what I love to create when people look at my work. I want you guys to notice new things every time you look at it. Right there is a fishbowl with a little disturbing looking mermaid that's been drawn with more realistic looking features rather than cartoon features on purpose. Because when you contrast the realistic features with the cartoon features, like I sometimes do with human hands, or in this case with the mermaid, I like to think it kind of adds to the idea of when worlds collide. And again, it raises questions. Where's that mermaid from? I mean, it's obviously not Ariel. Is it a siren? Is it dangerous? Is it trapped? Is it enchanted? You'll never know. I don't even know. That's the beauty of my art. I've just picked it up from some abandoned dusty corner in the back of my head and put it on paper. If we look over to the other side of the bottom of the work where the title is, you see a floor made of puzzle pieces. You see a tentacle coming out of nowhere holding that bottle out of which whatever is feeding that goofy character is flowing. You don't know where that tentacle is coming from. I mean, it could be Ursula's, but that's not confirmed. Next to that tentacle is a small cup. Now, even though that cup doesn't have a face, it looks awfully similar to Chip from Beauty and the Beast. And there's another level. You can see that something was kind of broken off, as if there was an earthquake that revealed more or rearranged everything. Further up, there's a grassland. On that grassland is a sunny side up egg. There's an old movie tape. There's Donald Duck's head. There's a piece of wood on top of which you can see a vintage Mickey hat. And then there's Cruella de Vil's car. I've always loved Cruella de Vil, and I love how her car is kind of like a character in itself. The lights look like evil eyes, and there's so much movement in the design of that vehicle. I've always loved it. So I included that as well. It's kind of sneaking around the corner. You don't know if Cruella is walking around somewhere in that abandoned space I've created, destroying dreams and terrorizing whatever she can find. All you know is that that car is parked there, but there's a lot more going on than your eyes can see. Right above that is a staircase, building, alphabet blocks, other gadgets, and a big tall popsicle. The popsicle does have windows on the sides, but you can't see what's going on. It just creates more depth within the artwork. Over the popsicle is a road that's been kind of ripped off and it leads you to the next building. As you guys know, I love to work with the element of time, so that building has a small brick tower with a clock in there. The face of the clock, if that's what you called it, has been smashed in. Next to that, I drew a plant pot, my beloved lamp plant in there. You guys know I love my lamp plants. That pot has a crack though, and it's being held together by a small piece of wood. There's a small ladder that would allow you to climb into the pot. There is so much going on. I love it. If you look all the way to the left, I'm sure you can see that there are a bunch of chimneys coming out behind a big book. Now, all these chimneys are an intentional reference to Mary Poppins. I love that scene in Mary Poppins where they clean the chimneys and walk over the roofs of London and you see all these different chimneys. I don't know, it just always got to me. So I wanted to include something like that. The syringe is just kind of violent. I love to include that as well. And the trumpet opening is a music reference, because music is a creative passion that's arguably bittersweet. Of course, there's also a building with lots of windows behind Mickey Mouse, and there's this big industrial structure. You can only tell that it's industrial because it's completely covered in these metal pieces that have been hammered individually onto it. I mean, I've created that texture to create that effect, but if you look all the way down, there's a small dark gate that would allow you to walk into that windowless thing, whatever it holds. And you can get to that gate if you climb the staircase that starts in the grass field. Now, by the big book with the chimneys, there's actually a second big book. There's a ladder, there's a kite. Maybe it's the one from Mary Poppins. Maybe it's just a general childhood reference. The plant pot with the lamp plants that I mentioned earlier is standing on top of a big wooden structure. There's only one shelf in that wooden structure, and in that shelf are poker cards. This is an intentional reference to Alice in Wonderland. And on the side of the big brick box that's about to burn down, the one that Mickey's sitting on, you can see one of those tools that allow you to wind up a toy. So before all of that was seemingly abandoned and it started to break down, there was a mechanism going on. That is a concept I also wanted to capture in this artwork. There is work going on. There's a mechanism. There is consistency. There is practice. There is passion. There's ambition. There's movement. Things are happening. Things can be done. And one of my favorite parts of this artwork are the piano keys. Now, my client for this artwork is also very passionate about playing the piano, but obviously this is a personal reference for me as well. If you look above the white key that's furthest back, you see an almost realistic looking eye within the wall. And out of that eye, there are tears coming down. Those tears are flowing through the key into the fishbowl that the mermaid is captured in. Now, of course, this hints at how emotional creative passions are and how fragile they can make us feel. And when we do crack open and we cry through the passion, which in this case is visually represented through the piano keys, it flows into what gives us life and fulfills us at the end of the day. The mermaid lives and breathes within the water or the tears, whatever it is, but that is what allows her to live. Doesn't matter if it's inside a fishbowl or the ocean. Next to that eye is also a teeny tiny door. One of the keys is hollow, or are all of them hollow? What's hiding within them? You don't know, and that's what I love the most. Now, if you look further up, on top of the roof of that building that the piano keys are inside of, there's a hat. And that hat is actually Mary Poppins' hat. I tried to draw Mary Poppins' hat as accurately as I could, but I think if you understand it and see it once, you can't unsee it. Underneath the piano keys, you see a Campbell's soup can, and I'm also extremely happy with how the side of the house turned out. I don't know if you've seen my explanation video for Reckless Recess, but in my artwork, Reckless Recess, I drew a water wheel, and that water wheel had the texture of multiple wooden panels being hammered together. I was extremely happy with how that turned out, and I've used this exact same texture or technique for the side of the house. I generally love to work with texture. It doesn't matter if it's bricks or metal panels, wooden panels, grass, glass, whatever it is, I want to play with it. I want to add depth and use it to the best of my abilities to communicate whatever I'm trying to explore with this artwork. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you soon and take care. Bye.